Do you mean to say that he is defective? The military observation liaison for the Gudrean Navy was in what I now recognized as shock as he asked me this question. All four of his eyes were fixated on Chief Engineer Reynolds as he directed his team in the awkward manner to which the rest of us had grown accustomed. I smiled thinly at him as he recovered enough to meet my gaze. Actually, in our society, it's not polite to refer to neurodivergent people as defective. The liaison turned towards me and asked, "What is neurodivergent?" Inwardly, I groaned. Literally anyone from the med team could likely explain this better than me. All my expertise is geared towards making living things stop living, and making intact things stop being intact. Aside from tourniquets, biofoam, pressure bandages, and the colour-coded auto-injectors for various situations that one does not want to find oneself in, I couldn't remotely call myself an expert in biology. I can take a human being apart pretty well, but explaining what does what and why is not my forte. Well, you see, people like me, where everything functions normal in the brain, we're called neurotypical. People with autism like Chief Reynolds, they're called neurodivergent. So, like, people like Chief Reynolds, their brains are basically wired differently. Two of the four eyes narrowed. Why? I shrugged at him. Some people are born wired differently, nothing we can do about it. That's why he deals with people so differently from what you're used to. I know eye contact is big on Caudrelian society, but the Chief can't do that. But why would you allow a different wired human to be in charge of the maintenance of your ship? He cannot even look his underlings in the face. How could such an officer earn the respect of underlings when he cannot even bear to look them in the eye? I know that contacting eyes is also important in human society. And what if his different wires cause him to fail at his task? The liaison was genuinely disturbed from what I could tell. Don't you have differently wired Caudrelian youngborn on your worlds? All four eyes blinked twice. Yes. Okay, so you are familiar with differently wired people then, yeah? I asked. The liaison shook his head in the negative. We call the defective young. They cannot function in Caudrelian society. It's why I cannot believe you would untrust the safety of a war vessel to one such as he. Because I've lost track of how many times he's kept the ship from fucking exploding, and how many times he's kept it running when it should have been fucking drifting in space from all the shit that's being shot out of it. The liaison saw that I was pissed. I apologize, I meant no offense. I've never seen such an arrangement in any of the naval forces I've been attached to. I sighed and tried to unfuck my facial muscles. I had to remember that the liaison was a stranger in a strange land. Sorry, it's just that Reynolds has pulled our asses through all kinds of hell. On the ground, we're good, you know? We can cut most shit apart without a problem, but we can't shoot a ship malfunction. But he knows his ship like ground powder's no war. He's got everything about a Tempest-class destroyer fucking memorized in his head. And if something goes wrong, he knows who needs to go where and what they need to do to fix it. The liaison's jaw dropped. He has committed every aspect of this vessel to memory? I nodded. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a spectrum. Some people are wired in a way where they are like Reynolds with other things like music or cars, and some are wired where they can't function at all. It's random. The Chief got lucky, and because he got lucky, we got lucky. What happens to the ones who cannot function? Do you keep those as well? The Caudrelian asked. If they're born, then yeah, we do, I responded. Why keep those if they are not as useful as Chief Reynolds is? Because that's what we do. Now, let's go get some food. I'm starving, I said. We turned and left the reactor room to go get some chow, as the noises of the UESV Saragahi hummed around us. I laughed mentally as I remembered the briefing I'd been given about Caudrelian biology. If the liaison was confused about autism, he was going to blow a fucking gasket when he learned about hot sauce.